It means everything to me. More significantly for me, I think in particular because it what helps define my career. I've been surrounded by a lot of Hall of Fame people in my life. Obviously, being drafted by a Hall of Fame coach, having played with already two Hall of Fame football players, and having them as teammates. One of them being my locker partner. So to me, it's a indication really of my career as well as that I've been surrounded by throughout all periods of my life, Hall of Fame people, and I've been very grateful for that.
Thank you, Joe. Brooke Pryor.
Hey, Troy, Brooke Pryor with ESPN. You just mentioned being drafted by a Hall of Fame coach. What does it mean, and how maybe extra special is it to be inducted with the guy who drafted you, the coach who drafted you, and how has your relationship with Coach Cowher kind of evolved from the time that you were a player, he was your coach, to now where you are today?
So I think naturally relationships evolve, in particular, especially being drafted as a 21-year-old. To have Coach Cowher, a Hall of Fame coach, obviously for a reason. But I think for my case, in a particular reason, because he helped develop me and helped me as I matured into adulthood, and really played a big father role figure in my life, much like Coach LeBeau as well. And really to have that confidence instilled in you by a Hall of Fame coach. But I think not only in particular to that, though, is that he's also from Pittsburgh, and he really embodies that blue collar mentality as well. So to not only have that sort of influence, earlier in my career, it's also an honorable, virtues that Pittsburgh stands by: blue collar work ethic, not letting environment control factors of adversity, and these sort of things you really learn living in Pittsburgh.
Thank you, Brooke. Mark Cabley.
Hey, Troy, how are you?
Hey, what's up, Mark? How are you doing?
Pretty good, pretty good. My question's about your rookie season. You came in and didn't play right away. I'm just wondering if you have any thoughts of how difficult that was to go straight from college to that rookie season and not play a lot. And did you ever question yourself early on in the process there?
For sure. Naturally, I think you question yourself. In fact, I almost would say my rookie season was similar to my freshman season. And what I'm learning now is that my freshman season is very similar to a lot of football players. So, that rookie season, you go through a lot of doubts. You're obviously, away from the college and the protection of coaches and college system, and you really start your venture into adulthood. But that rookie season for me was also where I started to question my purpose, I guess, and whether or not football was for me or not, because my rookie season was not enjoyable, nor was it very successful at all. So it actually, at that post rookie season, is where I kind of, had a real conversation with myself that was like, listen, man, either you're going to go all in on this or all out, because if you're not all in on this, then there may not be a career. So for me, that rookie season was extremely humbling, humiliating, but yet much needed in my life, not only as a football player, but just as a person, as a husband, as a father. And I'm appreciative of that adversity.
Thank you, Mark. Albie Oxenrider.
Hello, Troy.
Hello, Albie.
I appreciate the time, appreciate the availability. Albie Oxenrider, WPXI TV in Pittsburgh. And Troy, my question is about what's coming up in 3 weeks. You've had a lot of time to think about it, particularly this go round. You've had even more time to think about it. What do you think is the overriding emotion for you right now? Are you nervous? Are you anxious? Are you excited? Are Are you proud? What's going through your mind with the induction coming on fast?
Definitely nervous. Definitely anxious, but very, very excited. I think obviously those emotions are all very closely tied together. Very excited to see my teammates, to, you know, rehash some great, exciting memories. Nervous for a speech, you know, anxious because I want to make sure that the people that I'm, you know, very, you know, that have been huge influences in my life. And I do mean a lot of people, because for somebody like me, no small thing, no glass of water that somebody offered me was insignificant. And coming from where I come from, you know, that meant a lot for, and I don't want to miss out on that. So I'm nervous that I don't give the proper thanks, and people won't feel the gratitude that I really want to give them. So, you know, there's a lot of mixed emotions going on with that, you know, but in a lot of respects, I feel I don't need to say anything as well, because my career is a result of them as well. And had they not had those influences, had they not had given me these meals, these beds, you know, the bed to sleep, the advice, the knowledge, the wisdom, you know, I absolutely wouldn't have been, you know, selected such a prestigious honor. So I'm definitely have a lot of mixed emotions going into that week.
Thank you.
Brian Diardo.
It's Brian Diardo, CBS Sports. Troy, congratulations. I kind of also wanted to go back to earlier in your career. 2004 was kind of a breakout year for you and the team. I think you had a pick six against your old college teammate Carson Palmer that kind of springboarded things for you. Can you talk about the excitement of that season when everything kind of came together for you and your teammates? And I mean, that team won 15-1. So where would you maybe put that team with the 05 team and the 08 team, teams that did win championships?
Okay, so that 2004 year in particular regarding our team was a significant year. It was our 15-1 year. I think we had broken the AFC record, or the AFC record for most consecutive wins or something like that in a season. And I believe that's Ben's also first year of starting as well. But it was also my first year starting. And after, as what I previously described, as a very frustrating rookie year. To me personally, that first year of me starting was significant for two people in particular. Darren Perry, who was my defensive back coach and really helped me understand the game of football, understand to be a real true student of the game. And then Mike Logan, who was the starting safety the previous year and was no longer starting safety, but still a great role model to me. So for me personally, those two people really meant a lot throughout that year, really actually carried me throughout that, aside from Chris Hope being another safety, the starting safety opposite of me on that team as well. But that 2004 year was really significant, because to me, I think it legitimized the fact that we can play with the big boys. You know, I think at one point of time during the season, midway through the season, that we had beat two unbeaten teams, which were Philadelphia and New England, which, you know, funny enough, would have been our Super Bowl back-to-back had we played them again too. But Philadelphia, if I remember correctly, had, you know, Terrell Owens at that time was extremely talented, and Donovan McNabb, and, you know, obviously everybody knows, I think, Tom Brady's a pretty good quarterback as well, you know, that we lost to. So that year was a very significant year because of that reason, was that we were good enough to play with everybody.
Thank you, Brian. Ron Meyer.
Hey, Troy, Ron Meyer here from Sirius XM. My question is that over the course of the years, you took in so much more knowledge, whether it be your faith life, and I could see the many books in back of you. How much did that add or make you better as a professional athlete, having a diversion away from the field?
So, I don't know if necessarily knowledge accrued outside of football is a diversion away from the field, as much as, to me, it's just accruing knowledge as a part of life, and maybe football being a part of that as well. So I guess, to answer your question, it was more or less about trying to balance of where football belonged in my life. I guess I realized at a very young age that football wasn't going to be a part of my life, my whole life, be my whole life, my entire life. So I really wanted to balance that. Faith is something that was very important to me at a very young age. And that, without a doubt, is what balanced that for me.
Thank you.
Mel.
Hi, Troy. Mel with the 216 Sports Network. First off, it's an honor. I have a serious question. My wife is Samoan, and my children, my nephews, as you can see, are Samoan as well. So what advice would you give them or any other young child about, being where you want to be and succeeding as far as, being a player and, whatever sport you choose?
So if I'm hearing you correctly, it's what sort of advice for young Samoans if they're interested in sports, or just in general?
In general, sports doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, first of all, I definitely recommend sports, but I would recommend a lot of sports. In fact, any sport that they can possibly play. I would also recommend martial arts. School, I think, is understandable. It's a given. So for me, I would say that, find as many influences of different sports,
Troy, I think you got muted.
How's that?
There. Thank you.
So it's not only to play different sports, but and to find different subjects, music, and do all these different things, but also learn how to master what's in front of you. To me, I've always believed, you can't master anything big until you master the small things. So to me, it's not just generally speaking, obviously for the Samoan youth, but just generally speaking for youth in general, is find your interests, but find diversity, and grasping knowledge from different sports and different subjects, but then try to master what's also in front of you in the small details.
Thank you, Troy.
Jim Wexel.
Okay. Am I good? We good yet?
Yes.
Hey Jim, how you doing?
Oh, you just muted yourself again, Jim.
All right, there we go. You there, Troy?
How you doing, Jim?
Good, all right. I hope the family's good.
We're well, thank God. Thank you.
Good. And that beard's gonna turn all white soon.
Yeah.
I just want a quick one. Are you gonna come back to Heinz Field for the Hall of Honor this season?
Yeah, God willing, this season, my family and I will be able to make it back to Pittsburgh for a couple games at least. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks.
Jeff Hathorn.
Jeff Hathorn with KDK Radio in Pittsburgh. Troy, congratulations.
Thank you.
Why do you think you were so popular with Steeler fans, and what did that relationship with the fans mean to you?
I'm not sure about the popularity, of why certain, I can tell you why I'm a fan of certain athletes, but in terms of what Pittsburgh means to me, I'm sorry, was that the second part of your question?
Correct. Yes. What the Pittsburgh fans meant to you.
So it's tough to separate Pittsburgh fans from the city of Pittsburgh. I think anybody that grows up in Pittsburgh understands that if you're in Pittsburgh and you're not a Steelers fan, you're not from Pittsburgh. You're just kind of like a passerby. So it's kind of hard to separate the two. But Pittsburgh to me is home. That's really the best way that I can explain it, because I've lived there longer than I've lived anywhere in my life. It served as one of the most significant places in my life. It's where I grew. It's where I was, where my wife and I were married. It's where I learned about spirituality. It's where I became Greek Orthodox as well. So there's so much about Pittsburgh. It's home. It's really the only way that I can explain it to me. So I don't feel so much of a connection as much as a sports town hero or any of these sort of things, as much as I'm just another member of a community there.
Thank you, Jeff. Brian Batko.
Yeah, Troy, this is Brian Batko from the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette here. Congratulations. I know this was obviously before my time covering the team, but your final season here, your career ended somewhat abruptly, perhaps before you were ready. How much did it take to kind of work through the emotions of that being over, and how kind of would you describe your relationship with the organization, and how much do you still kind of follow and watch the team?
So in particular, in regards to how my career ended, it ended at the most perfect time. I'm so grateful that I'm here today with the faculties that I have, with the health that I have, with my family, and being able to experience the memories that I've had I not continued to play. So I'm definitely grateful for the time that my career ended. In terms of the relationship since, I've had a great relationship. To be honest, I went out to dinner several times with Mr. Rooney whenever they come out to LA and Mrs. Rooney. So I'm still close with the family and many of the owners. I don't make it out to Pittsburgh much because my kids are deeply involved in sports. And so my relationship with the organization has been great. In terms of how much I follow the organization, that I haven't done a very good job of. And that's where I actually rely heavily upon, teammates like Ike and Ryan, who are still really, tied to the game and say, hey, is this guy as good as they say he is? It's like, oh yeah, he's legit. So I stay pretty loosely tied like that. And our group chats are pretty interesting as well. So that's kind of been my, I guess, to summarize the relationship of my career with football since retirement, a life with football since retirement.
Thank you, Brian. We have time for a few more questions. Mike Moore.
Hey, Troy, how you doing, man? Congratulations on everything. Hey,
thank you.
Man, I got a question about it's one particular game, man. It's kind of amazing to me to even to be able to ask you this question and for you how what's going on in your mind. It was 2013, and you guys were you were playing the Titans, right? I believe you guys were up 19-3. They were within inches of scoring. Now you physically jumped before the ball was snapped, but did not come in contact with any of the linemen. Jumped over all of them, and then as the ball is being snapped, almost simultaneously, Superman tackled Gary Collins. So in my mind, I'm like, man, did he even know the snap count? Or what was going through your mind that made you jump at that particular time in order to make that play?
Well, okay, so to answer your question, I'll give you some extreme vulnerability here. What's funny is they were in a hurry huddle, and we had called a cover two, which was a cover two, on like the 2-yard line. was pretty much just man to man with the corners. I'm not going to be deep half over the corner. So then I also thought to myself that had I did jump off sides, what's first and, goal from the 2 versus first and goal from the 1, it's not going to be that much different as well. So I kind of, I guess, took a calculated risk there. And thank God it ended up working out well. Yeah, I can't say that it was a play that wasn't out of pure instinct, but there was some calculation for sure put into that.
Nice, man. Troy, you're a GOAT, man. That's not normal man stuff, man. I appreciate you asking the question.
Thank you.
Nick Farabaugh.
Hey, Troy. Hope you're doing well today.
How you doing, Nick?
I'm doing great. So, after Bill Cowher retired after the 2006 season, you obviously had another really young coach in Mike Tomlin come in. How did he really affect you as you were really an NFL player at that point? By the time he came on, how did he affect you in that second half of your career and really help you grow? What did you learn from the coach Mike Tomlin?
So to me, the reason why Coach Tomlin was significant to me in particular, or in terms of the team, because I think there are almost two different things, to be honest, and it's interesting. For the team, I'm dumbfounded that I'm 40 years old now and that he was 34 years old being a head coach. What an amazing responsibility for him to be able, and the confidence to be able to undertake such a task. Especially, I would have to add that, being an African-American, a head coach. And then to come into an organization like the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have the history of winning championships and very, very high expectation. And not only that, in identity as well. I'm sorry. To me, I thought it was really great to see how he was able to really enforce his way. Even though I meant there were several players that were older than him, but definitely players that had already figured out a way to have success. And for him to mold that into his own identity, not having the experience of being a head coach, to me was very special and significant. Personally, for me and him to interact, is he allowed me to be me. It's funny he would always joke around. It's like, man, you football players from Southern California, I always have something different about you guys. There's always something going on about you Trojans. But for Coach Tomlin, it was very special for him because in a lot of ways he was the same, another father figure to me, but he allowed me to be me. And that was very special to me. He allowed me to miss certain things because I wanted to go to church, because Easter, like he let me really value the things that I valued outside of football, and to me that was what makes him very special. So in both ways, to me, he was and is a future Hall of Fame coach.
Thanks, Troy. Congrats.
Thank you.
We have one last question from Elise Robinson.
Hi, Troy. Congratulations. I am Elise from Sports and Culture. So my question, real quick, just of your 12 seasons, which one was your best and your favorite, and why?
Oh, wow. I would have to say the first season, as humiliating as it was, I would have to say, had I not gone through the process of that sort of molding, of really kind of being put through the furnace of adversity and doubt, and really attacking that in a way that was, to me, calculated, methodical, and not in an emotional way. Right. That was like, yeah, I'm done with this game. or you know, or these sort of things. It was just like, man, I gotta go about doing this the right way, and that paying off, because you know, that paid off. It actually set motion for the rest of my career to say, man, this is a template for me to work off of. You know, this chicken breast, broccoli, and olive oil, you know what I mean, diet. Maybe I can get, you know, add some other things into there. But to me, that's what really set the template for how I started to view seasons beyond that.